Hello again to all my viewers, and welcome back to my final video of 2022, and what a year it has been. Now, I've done a lot of things with the channel this year, and it's been a very enjoyable experience. I've had the opportunity of meeting up with several fellow YouTubers, I've gone many different places, and I've done many different things. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my top 5 favorite videos that I've done on the channel this year. Now, these are just my own personal favorites, and they're not really the top content for this year. Anyways, we'll begin with number 5, and this is a more recent video I did, being the video, These Big Model Trains Run Around My House. Now, this is a favorite of mine because it's the biggest model train video I've put together as of right now. If you look, you'll see I've got a total of 12 locomotives on this setup, 9 of which I'm running at one time. I also managed to acquire more track this year, which allowed me to set up a larger layout around my house. I really enjoy doing this because I don't have a permanent layout to set up for my large-scale trains, so it's not that often I get things out to have a play. Coming in at number 4, we have the 30th Annual Farm Toy Show and Sale video. Now, this video was actually delayed as the show had been canceled for the last 2 years. I've been really disappointed about this because I've had 2 big setups I've been wanting to get out there and show off to the public, and I was finally able to do so this year. The first was my 1/64 scale display that I called Heavy Rescue. Considering the main focus of this setup, I don't think I need to explain why I call it that. This was a project I started 3 years ago on a budget and finally got to show in its completed state. In addition to this, I also got to display my Ertl Thomas & Friends collection for the first time in its entirety. For the last 5 years, I've been trying to acquire all the characters Ertl did during their 20-year run, and I was very glad to have finally got the last of the ones I needed this year. Aside from being able to finally display at this show, I also got to meet up with friends and fellow hobbyists, which I hadn't seen in almost 3 years. It was definitely a reunion that was long overdue. Anyways, moving right along, we come to number 3 on the list, being the Clarion Model Railroaders Club's running session video. Now, this is one of my favorites for many reasons. To begin with, it was a crossover video I did with friends and fellow YouTubers NZ Arduin and John Deere Man 567 during our meetup back in August. Zach and I had actually planned to visit CMRC's clubhouse last year, but they weren't open during his visit. It was definitely on our list of things to do this year, so we attended their meeting night on Wednesday, and we were pleasantly surprised to find that the members invited the 3 of us back the next day for their running session. Not only did we get to watch, but the members also offered to let us run some trains. Nick and Zach were the only ones who participated, while I worked on getting footage for the video. The 3 of us had a great day, and we definitely plan to go back to the CMRC clubhouse again next year, although sadly it doesn't look as if Nick will be attending that meetup. At number 2 on the list, we have Bob McKay's NScale Pennsylvania Railroad layout video. This is not only one of my favorites from this year, but it also placed at number 18 in the top 20 videos for 2022. This wasn't even a video I had planned to make, and was actually just a spur-of-the-moment idea. During a meetup I had with friend and fellow YouTuber Terrence the Tractor 525, we volunteered to help Bob with the model train display at Doolittle Station. While we were there, Bob took us to his house to pick up the NScale module for Doolittle's, and he also showed us his own layout as well. This is an NScale layout built in a 24-foot by 48-foot basement and is modeled after the Pennsylvania Railroad. Bob has been working on this for decades, and it's amazing just how large this layout is. In all honesty, the video doesn't do it justice, and you really have to see this in person to really appreciate it. I do have to laugh because most people model an NScale because it doesn't take up much real estate, but I think this layout pretty much proves that theory is false. And finally, at number 1 on my list, we have the Visiting Kinzus Bridge State Park video. Now, this is one of the videos I've done which I honestly feel didn't get the credit it deserved. To begin with, this was another crossover video I did with Nick and Zach during our meetup this year, and actually there were a few videos we made while we were at the park. The first one was of us walking around what remains of the standing structure, and then also walking down into the valley and around the wreckage of the collapsed bridge. We also shot one of Zach's improvised Yu-Gi-Oh! Duels while we were in the valley, and probably my favorite part was watching Zach die. No! On the final day of the meetup, we also went back to the park again to check out the museum since we didn't have time to do so on the first day we were there. We personally felt all these videos were great, but sadly none of them even pulled 100 views since upload. Still, it was great to make the trip to Kinzu since I haven't been there in almost 20 years. The last time I visited the park was just after the bridge's collapse, and a lot has changed since then. I'm hoping to make the trip back there next year with another friend as well. So there's my top 5 videos of 2022. Like I mentioned before, these are just my own personal favorites, and they're not really the top videos I've uploaded this year. There's many others which have been more popular and gone further, but sometimes it's more about the memory for me, and I've definitely made a lot of them this year. Before I wrap things up, I want to thank my audience for your continued support and viewership, and also give a big thanks to my friends and fellow content creators for continuing to motivate me to create content here on YouTube. Without all of you, this channel just wouldn't be the success that it is, and I want to thank you all for the support you've given me. Anyways, that's going to be it for me for now, and I will see you all again in the new year. Take care, everyone.